Rebecca George. Welcome to the Compare To podcast.
Oh, Heather, I'm so happy to be back with you. This is so fun.
Yeah, I love the fact that we can hang out, but also talk about important things.
Yes, me too. Me too. I just love you and I always love catching up with you. It's been a while.
It
So
has.
I woke up this morning excited to like personally catch up and then, yeah, talk business things. So,
Yes. Well, and of course, I didn't wear the earrings, but my most important like beef I had with you was your Etsy shop with my favorite ever earrings. Like I just told Rebecca, like I wear those. She makes
uh,
gorgeous clay earrings.
thank
And
you,
you changed
friend.
the name of the shop. Say what the shop name is.
Honestly,
Oh, it's like
here's how wild my 2025 has been,
you
Heather.
don't know what
I actually don't know what I changed it
well,
to
it
because
was
I did
Radical
that months
Radiance.
ago. It was, and
I
I
think
think
it's
I maybe
Clay.
named it.
Clay by
Yeah, I think I
Rebecca.
maybe something like that. Honestly, you guys don't go there right now because it's the most neglected part of my business. I've been launching a book this year and it's one of those like you can't win them
You
all,
can't
you
do it
know?
all. You can't
You
do it all,
can't win them
but you
all.
guys, these earrings were like the best. So
But I love that you love my
if it
earrings.
ever rejuvenates, like go there.
Follow me on Instagram
Yeah,
and
there
you'll
you
be
go.
the first to find
That's
out.
perfect. That's perfect. In fact, I think I normally try to wear the earrings in our
You
interview,
do,
and
which I love.
I
Yes.
failed this morning, but today I thought there's just this hot topic for me
Yeah.
personally, but I think for all of my listeners, this is always a hot topic. And I thought you would be the perfect person to have a conversation with about this topic. And that's the topic of surrender.
Yeah.
And I've approached it a couple different directions, right? Just like, what does it look like to surrender? Feel like that's talked about
Yeah.
a lot. But there's this kind of push and pull between idolatry and
Hmm.
surrender. And you know how I love to talk about idolatry, which is
Yeah.
a
Which
really
is
weird
one
thing to
reason, one
say.
of many reasons why I love you.
What a weird thing to say.
Thanks
I
for
love
being
talking
willing
about
to go
idolatry.
there. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but I was thinking about like this concept that I think it's our idols that make it
Hmm.
really hard for us to surrender everything,
Amen. Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
because our expectations become idols, right? Like I write in my one book, Comparison Free Life, I talk about how our ideals, which is kind of like our
Yeah.
expectations, become idols, right? There's all these like goals are good, but
Yeah.
goals can so quickly turn into these ideals and expectations that become idols. And so it kind of becomes this like tug of war
Yeah.
between idolatry and surrender.
Yeah.
And so, like, how have you seen this in your life? What does
Yeah.
this make you think of, like, story wise, or just what have you
Oh,
experienced?
totally, Heather. Well, I was in my later 20s when I got married, which was, I mean, I'm a Tennessee gal. We get married young, we have babies young. All my people got married before I did,
Yeah,
had kids before I did, and I felt like I was the only one,
yeah,
right? And I think whether you relate to that or not, or your life situation looks completely different than mine, we all know what it feels like to long for something, something that's good, as you just mentioned.
yeah.
We watch other people experience the thing we want. And so many times it's that like death by a thousand cuts type of thing.
Mm,
Like I was a bridesmaid 12 times, Heather,
right.
before I got
Oh,
married,
well,
right? Got
probably me
12
too.
dresses
Yep.
in that closet 10 feet away
Right,
from me that were not white,
right.
right? So 12 opportunities where I willfully had to choose to cheer for my friend who was getting
Yeah.
the thing I want.
But
And
wait,
sometimes,
did you try to catch the bouquet? How many times did you catch the bouquet out of those
oh,
12 times?
more than 12. Because I've been to more weddings than I've been in, right? And so, I mean, end of the story, I did get married to an amazing man, and I'm so grateful for just how God provided in that way. But a couple things. That good desire got elevated to a place meant for God alone. So,
Yeah,
like, let's define idolatry.
right.
That's it. When we elevate even a good thing, a desire, a goal, a longing in our hearts, whether that's a relational thing to get married, have kids, become a grandparent. If you're
Mm,
later on in life, there it can look a million ways, reconcile a relationship, or more of a vocational thing of, hey, I want to start a business. I want to get involved in a ministry. I want to take that next step on the corporate ladder, whatever it is. We elevate that thing to a place where it occupies the place in our hearts meant for God
Yeah.
alone. That's
Mhm.
number one. Right. And so then I think what happens, at least in my heart, is I totally miss what God has for me in the present day when I'm
Right.
so focused on that thing that I want.
Right.
And so I think that's one example of what it's looked like
Yeah.
in my life. But that shift, I love how you called it attention, is so important because I think it's our desire as Christian
Mhm.
women to live a surrendered life, fully just surrender to what God has for us, our hands open to whatever that is. But our culture moves at such a pace that it's so easy for us to compare. It's so easy for us to idolize things. And then I think we're exposed to other people getting what we want
Mm.
at a pace that like didn't happen for my mom or my
Right.
grandmother or my great grandmother. You just think like one, two, three, four generations removed from you
Right.
and how differently we processed the longings in our hearts and how we
Right.
surrendered them. So that's
Right.
interesting to think about too. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's one example of many.
Well, I was just thinking about the reality, like you pointed out. These are good things,
Yeah.
right? I mean, yes, okay, some people do struggle with money, love of money, right?
Sure.
And so
Yeah.
you could kind of be like, oh, that's greedy. Like that's obviously sin to want to just be filthy
Yeah.
rich, right? But these other things that we desire, like to desire to be married or to desire children or to desire health,
Yeah.
to have a better, a healthier body, right? Like these are good desires. And I think it's so confusing and maybe even a
Mhm.
little oh, I don't know, like subtly insidious.
It's
Is that the word
insidious.
I'm looking for, right?
Yeah.
Like, because it's like, well, that couldn't possibly be a bad thing. And then I think, Rebecca, I don't want to go too far here, right? But you're a pastor's wife. I'm a pastor's
Yeah.
wife, right? Like, I feel like sometimes because they're good things, like what we tend to do is we tend to chase them thinking we've got God's rubber stamp on them, right? Because
Yeah.
like
And we
marriage
have a
is a good
blank
thing.
check. And we have a blank check for them to become an idol.
Right,
Right?
right, right. Like it's a good thing.
Yeah.
I should chase this. Like
Yeah.
it's right to chase this. It's biblical to chase this. I think
Yeah.
that's really difficult to wrestle with.
Yeah, I do too. And honestly, Heather, if I zoom out a little bit and again, I want to point the finger right back at myself. If I think about even the insignificant parts of my life where I have to wait on something,
Mm,
right? Let's say I get sick. 10
mhm.
years ago, maybe a friend would have made homemade chicken noodle soup and left it on my front door. Today, I DoorDash my favorite soup from Panera and it's on my doorstep in 30 minutes.
Right.
If I have an early flight, I feel icky about inconveniencing a friend. And so I just Uber to the airport super early and I'm not inconveniencing anyone and
Mm,
it's all easy, right? So even when I'm doing something silly, like standing in line at Kroger checking out my groceries, I feel this need to grab my phone and scroll on my phone and
mm.
entertain myself for the 5 minutes that I'm waiting to get
Yeah,
out the door.
right.
So even in the insignificant parts of my life, we live in a culture that causes it to be really easy to not have resilience in
Mm,
the waiting.
yeah.
So then it's no surprise to me, Heather, when I'm thinking about me and Dustin's journey towards becoming parents or other things in our lives that are longings in our hearts. And my heart has to create some muscle memory there of what
Hmm.
it feels like to surrender and to trust in God's
Right,
timing because I'm not even doing that. I'm not having to do that in the daily, like
right.
little things that 15 years ago we did. And so I
Right,
think that's also had a really big
right.
effect on our ability to surrender and what it looks like to trust
we
God. Wouldn't you
we live in
agree?
we have an Amazon Prime mentality of life. So where
Yes.
I live very close to Austin, and I don't know if it's this way everywhere. I figured it was just this way because I live close to a major city. But
Yeah.
like I can literally order something at 9 p.m. and something like super unique. I'm not talking about something like
Yeah.
generic. I'm talking something super unique and it will be on my doorstep at 4 a.m.
I know.
I'm
Yeah.
like, what? Like, how do you have that in stock? Like
Right.
everywhere. Like that's just
Right.
odd to me. And so,
Yes.
but you're right, because life is so, well, you know what? Here, oh, here's an angle, Rebecca. I feel like I have control. I can make things
Yeah.
happen,
Yeah.
right? Like, so this is a conversation I have with my people all the time, right? Around health and body image stuff, right? Just this
Yeah.
grappling with this reality that if I spend too much time on Instagram, I'm going to believe
Yeah.
that I have 100% complete control over my health and what my body looks like, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, of course, I have some influence. Sometimes, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't make my thyroid work faster, right? Like,
Right.
there's limitations, and
Yeah.
but but it confuses us into, oh, I don't want to say it this strongly, but I kind of need to say it this strongly, like into kind of believing that I have like more power and control over my life. Like I'm my own little god, right? Which is
Yeah.
idolatry. Like that's again back to the definition of
100%.
idolatry. But I don't know. Like, what do you think?
I mean, I think you're onto something there because, in a sense, there are many insignificant things and conveniences in our culture today that do give us control.
Right.
I mean, you're not wrong there, right? And so then anything we do creates muscle memory in our
Mhm.
hearts, right? So when I Amazon Prime something and it's there at 4 a.m. and I get that dopamine hit of opening my front door to see the package, that's another rep at me feeling like I have control.
Yeah.
And then later in the day, when I'm fatigued and exhausted and I don't want to cook dinner and I DoorDash poke bowls and they're on my doorstep in 30 minutes, that's another dopamine hit, right? And
Yeah.
so day after day, moment by moment,
Yeah.
it's so easy for us to create those moments and create that control.
Right.
And so then no wonder my heart feels the way it does when something's occupied a really unhealthy place in my heart and I'm struggling to lay it down
Right.
and give it over to God again for the fifth time
Right.
that day,
Right.
you know? And so I don't know, Heather, I've found myself almost wanting to push back against that a little bit, like not do grocery pickup and
Hmm.
walk in the grocery store and
Hmm.
go pick out the bell pepper and the onion that I need for the recipe
Yeah. Yeah.
and create an environment where my heart has to slow down
Yeah.
in even the insignificant. And I don't know, it's given me a little bit more muscle memory in
Right.
the bigger things of life. So I don't think we can change our culture, but I think
No.
we can order our lives in such a way that we press back against that a little bit where there is
Yeah.
an opportunity to, you know?
Yeah, I'm hearing you. I'm feeling convicted. I mean, because I think that the concept is embodiment,
Yeah.
right? Like we
Yeah.
don't have to live embodied
Yeah.
when I don't have to go shop. When
Yeah.
I just get on my screen and things magically happen. I mean, it does feel godlike, right?
Yeah. Totally.
Yikes.
Yikes.
I
Yeah.
really like grocery pickup though,
I mean,
Rebecca.
you
I
and me
really,
both. And there's
really like
nothing
it.
wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it. And
Just
there are
being
many
aware.
days.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, okay, here's maybe the difference. Like Wednesdays for us, we're both pastors' wives.
Mhm.
Wednesdays are wild. Like I've
Mhm.
got worship practice after work, and so I'm managing a lot. That's probably the day that if I need groceries, I'm going to do grocery pickup
Yeah.
because it enables me to get to the things that where I'm serving others and the
Right.
places where God has me and my people faster.
Yeah.
So, but I don't have to do that on a Saturday morning,
Right.
you know? So maybe it's intentional choices when it works for us that
Right.
pushes back against that. I don't know. I've not got it all figured
Yeah.
out.
Yeah. Oh, it's hard to think about. Okay. But idolatry versus surrender. Okay, so you've been kind of thinking about this hardcore because you wrote
Yeah.
a book about just waiting for God's timing.
Yeah.
And well, let me just share the book with everyone because it's a really great book and it's a beautiful book too.
Thanks,
Oh my goodness, it's so
friend.
pretty.
Oh,
I was
I
like, this
love
is
the
so
cover.
pretty. It's called You're Not Too Late, Trusting God's Timing in a Hurry Up World. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see the pretty, pretty cover. But I mean, it's a beautiful book. And I love how it has places. It's not a workbook per se, but it has places do
Yeah.
some work, which I think is super important and super helpful too. But you talked about like the idol of your desire to get married, which that was mine too, for
Yeah.
sure. I mean, because we got married, Eric and I met at 30 and
Okay.
married at
Yeah.
31. And so same story there. But how do we surrender? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's not a simple, like, you've got 3 minutes. Tell me how to surrender, Rebecca. But like what are some of the principles behind like just learning to
Yeah.
surrender those desires or expectations or our timing, like you talk about.
Yeah. Totally. I'll give you a couple things. One, I think we first have to do the work of what you and I just talked about and recognizing and
Mm,
having a willingness to recognize, oh, this thing has become it's become an idol.
mm,
It's that thing on the throne of my heart that
mm,
um is meant for God alone. And so until I'm willing to recognize that that's happened and kind of own that, I don't think I can move forward and surrender. So for
yeah.
me personally, it's that recognition first. But then I love these two verses that are baked into Psalm 139. I mention them a lot in the book. I call it our search me God prayer at the end of every
Mhm.
chapter. But verses 23 and 24, the psalmist says, search my heart, O God. Try me and know my anxious thoughts. And if there be a grievous way in me, lead me in the way everlasting. And Heather, I think like that's it, right?
Yeah.
I go back to that passage a lot when I'm struggling in some way with my own areas of longing. And I'll just say, God, would you just examine me? Would you examine my heart? Would you search my heart? Would you show me where I'm thinking about this in a way that it's causing this thing to be an idol, or maybe my perspective on it is contrary to your truth? And would you
Mm,
point me back to that? Right. And so I think it can be that simple, right? We hear a word like surrender, and even maybe you read that title and you thought, "Ooh, I want to know more about that," but
mm,
that even feels like big and scary to me in my spiritual life. And really it is recognizing, ooh, that thing's occupying a place in my heart meant for God.
yeah.
God, would you search me? God, would you point me back to truth?
Yeah.
It can be that simple,
Yeah.
and the reality, and you said it well a minute ago, is you may do that 15 times tomorrow
Mhm.
about the thing that
Right.
is occupying that place in your heart, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Like that is okay as you continue to trust him. Part of that is recognizing when you've picked it back up again
Mhm.
and saying, "Oop, wait. Okay, God, this is yours. I'm laying it at your feet again."
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm thinking even like, so I did this. I set up this dichotomy between idolatry and surrender, right? But I'm thinking so many of us are black and white thinkers,
Yeah.
right? And so I think surrender gets messy because it's
Yeah.
like surrender's giving up. Oh, you mean
Mhm.
shouldn't try anymore, right? Like, so in a dating context, right? Oh, I'm
Yeah.
surrendering it. So nope, I'm not gonna go anywhere. I'm not gonna get on
Yeah.
any sites. I'm not gonna do anything. I'm just, and I remember this is gonna totally date me, and I don't know if no, I'm older than you, Rebecca. But I remember there was this episode when Dr. Phil had a show.
Listen,
Okay.
I love Dr. Phil. I grew up on Dr.
Okay,
Phil.
okay,
Okay.
good. Well,
I may
maybe you
be
saw
younger
this
than
one.
you, but I love some Dr. Phil.
So I remember he was talking to this single woman of like I don't remember if the episode was like called like how to get married or how to find a man or something, but it had
Yeah.
some sort of title like that, which drew me in because I was a single woman. And
100%.
I
Yeah.
remember him talking to a woman and being like, if a man would have to like fall on the windshield of your car in order for you to meet him, like you are not like putting enough effort into your desire to get married. And I remembered thinking, like, well, that's a really good point, right? Like, of
Mhm.
course, you got to put yourself out there. But then it's like, oh, wait, but I'm surrendering this to God. And it feels like this, like, oh, which is it? Is it
Yeah.
my work or is it my surrender? Like, how do I trust God and then like work as if it's all up to me, right? Isn't that the Christian cliche? Like, pray as if it's all up
Yeah.
to God and work as if it's all up to you. And I don't really know
Right.
that any of that is good,
No.
right? Like, what, how do we get past that like jumbled mental gymnastics
Yeah.
of surrender means I give up or surrender
Yeah.
means I just have to like white knuckle it. Like I'm really trusting God, but I'm doing all this work. I'm working really hard. I'm really trying to make this happen. Like neither one of
Yes.
those are true surrender, I don't think.
100%. I think you touched on something really important. And you're right in that we love black and white. Just in our culture, we're very uncomfortable with gray. However, what you described, I mean, I think theologians have been battling this and writing books and volumes on this for, hundreds of years of like human responsibility versus God's sovereignty,
Right.
right? That's
Right.
that's what you're
Right.
getting at, right? And so here's what we know. Do I know, does God's word tell me that God is perfectly sovereign, perfectly in control? Yeah. Is
Mhm.
that true when I meet the guy? Is
Mhm.
that true when I walk through a miscarriage? Is that
Mhm.
true when my kid who's trying to conceive walk through a really long infertility journey? Yeah. Is it true when my coworker gets the promotion
Mhm.
or when I get the dream job of my life?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is no end to
Mhm.
this side of the spectrum. We like to
Right.
see it on a spectrum, and I
Right.
think maybe that's part of the problem, right?
Right.
So it I think it's less of a there's human responsibility on one end and God's sovereignty on the other, and we have to figure out where on that spectrum that we fall versus recognizing that is true of God yesterday, today, forever,
Yeah.
despite what my circumstances look like. And so God, how do I see that rightly in light of who you are, in light of
Right.
where you've planted my feet? And that does include the condition of our hearts about it. And I think some of
Right.
the kind of trite statements that you mentioned are part of the reason why that feels so unnatural for us
Mhm.
in our culture. And so I think what maybe one of the results of that becomes is we think about that thing we want. Let's just pick becoming a grandparent
Mhm.
because of the demographic of your audience. um Maybe some of our friends listening are just their hearts are so longing to become a grandparent. Okay, is God good when your child is able to conceive and have that baby? Yeah.
Mhm.
Is God good when that is more of a difficult journey? Yeah, absolutely. But what tends to happen is we tie his character to getting the thing we want.
Mhm.
But the equation of that, if we work it all the way out to its conclusion, has to also mean that when we don't get the thing we want, well, is God good? Is
Right.
he in control? Right.
Right.
And so, something that God has really been challenging me with is kind of untying those things, right?
Mhm.
And recognizing like this truth over here is unchanging.
Mhm.
And that includes his sovereignty, his in controlness, his grace and mercy towards us, his loving kindness towards us. All those things are true because he's immutable, because he doesn't change.
Yeah.
And so that actually is the thing that I stand on in both the mountaintop and the valley.
Mhm.
And that helps me live in the gray a
Yeah.
little more comfortably, you know?
Yeah. 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 Well, I have a chapter in my 40-day body image workbook where I talk about black and white thinking, and I talk about it's not necessarily we have to live in the gray. We have to live in the grace,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
that's the middle spot is like
Yeah.
it's accepting that God's grace is over everything, even if I don't understand it or like
Yeah.
wish it was different. It's like, okay, like this is still like part of his sovereign grace in this
Yeah.
situation.
And I
Yeah,
think
it's
part
so
of the
cool.
control thing from earlier causes us to believe that like we hold the pen to our lives,
Right,
right?
right.
So circling
Absolutely.
all the way back to that, I think it requires a little bit of a perspective shift on our part to recognize
Hmm.
like we're not the eternal one. We're
Right,
not the one who has all knowledge and wisdom, right?
right,
And so I think when we zoom out and realize who our God is and
right.
and fix our hearts on that, that also helps me recognize my perspective is not perfect. I'm seeing through a mirror very dimly
Right,
today,
right,
you know.
right. Well, yeah, and that's I guess where surrender meets humility,
Yeah,
right? Like
so good.
and humility is really like another cure for our idolatry, right?
Yeah.
It's like that
Yeah.
humble, well, I hate to use the word to define the word. That's not good English grammar there. But it's like, oh, what's another word for humility? But like it's really like saying you are God and I am not,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
I've got to be okay with that.
Yeah.
And then any place in your life where you can't be okay with that. It's like, oh, ooh, oh, maybe there's an idol there,
Yeah.
right? If I'm
Yeah.
not okay with saying that around having children or around whether or not my body changes in the way I
Yeah.
want it to change, or,
Yeah.
my job situation or any situation, oh, it's hard. But
Yeah.
then I love what you said, like, right, you have to know that he's good too. You have to believe that he's good. If you
Yeah.
can't believe that he's good, it's really hard to have that posture.
Totally. And like, okay, I went to the physical therapist not that long ago about an injury that I had, right? And so sometimes when we go to the doctor and something's hurting us, something's bothering us, the doctor will press on that thing, right? And sometimes
Mhm.
it's that immediate knee jerk like, "Ooh,
Yeah.
ouch, that really hurt." And there's a couple reasons for that. One, either the doctor pressed too hard
Uh-huh.
or there's sensitivity there.
Right.
Right. And I think the same is true with the
That's
idols of our
good.
hearts,
That's really
right?
good.
When God presses on that, we know that his perspective is perfect.
Right.
We know that as his children, so many times he will convict us of sin. He'll reveal those ways in which we're seeing a situation that's contrary to how he sees it.
Yeah.
But we have to be willing to go, ooh, yeah,
Right.
God, you pressed on that because there's sensitivity there. And so I'm recognizing, yeah, that's
That's
become an idol.
that is so good, right? Because I mean, I go to the chiropractor and sometimes I get my jaw adjusted. Have you ever had your jaw adjusted?
Okay, here's a hot take. I have never been to a chiropractor
Oh,
and I think I have trust issues.
uh,
I can't do it.
getting your jaw adjusted
That
is a
sounds terrifying.
terribly painful thing, right? And she doesn't naturally adjust your jaw. Like that's not kind of part of the normal routine. I
Yeah.
have to say, there's a problem. Could you please adjust my jaw? And every single time it's like, oh, I don't know if I actually want to acknowledge that. Right? Because that means, like you said, that means she's going to put pressure on there and it's going to hurt like the dickens.
Yeah.
But then afterwards, it's better. It
Yeah.
feels better. And so I love that illustration, right? Like, yeah, like it is going to hurt if the doctor's pressing on it. If
Yeah.
Dr. God,
Yeah.
if the Lord's pressing on it, it might hurt for a season, right? But all discipline is
Yeah.
those he loves, and it's going to be helpful.
Yeah.
And so it's like, wow, okay, let it hurt for a season. Walk with Jesus through that, knowing he's with you, and then knowing, oh goodness, it's going to be better
Yeah.
once.
On the other side. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really good.
So good.
Okay. So you have this beautiful, lovely book that I mentioned. We just have a
Yes.
couple minutes left, but I just tell us more, like what's in it, like who
Yeah.
should get this book. And I don't just have older listeners. I've got listeners of all ages. So
I love it.
I
Yes.
know, You're Not Too Late is going to apply to women of every age.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. I say in the introduction of the book that this book is for the hopefuls, the almost but not yet, the
Mm,
crushed in defeat, the stunned by a lack of progress, and the weary woman ready to hang up her jersey.
mm,
And I think that speaks pretty loud and clear to who it's for. And in some way, shape, form, or fashion, almost every woman I know feels
right,
that way in some regard in their lives.
right.
And so we kind of take a look at 10 different areas of our lives where there may be a common sin struggle or challenge that usually accompanies trusting God in some area of our lives and what it looks like to kind of turn towards a biblical narrative, a gospel centered view of that. And so you mentioned earlier, I think really well, uh, this was not a book that I felt like we could just read and just shake our hands off and just move on. And so it is really interactive. So at the end of every chapter, there's some prayer prompts and questions and case studies of like how this might play out in somebody's life. And so I hope those are helpful. We also did an interactive video series that comes with the book for free. There's an 11 session series where I just give you a little jolt of encouragement if you're going through the book alone, or it's a great way to start off your sessions in a small group or book club type of situation. And so we've really done all we could to make it interactive and fun. And so, yeah, you can grab it anywhere books are sold.
Love it. Love it. Rebecca, it's called You're Not Too Late, Trusting God's Timing in a Hurry Up World by Rebecca George. Rebecca, tell everyone where they can connect with you. You said follow you on Instagram so they can get earring updates. What's your Instagram
Yes.
handle? Where
Yes.
where can we connect with you?
Totally. I am Rebecca George, author, over on Instagram. So I'd love to have you over there. And I have a podcast myself, which Heather has been on a couple of times. So look in the archives and you can find those episodes over on Radical Radiance. You can listen wherever you like to download podcasts. And I think I said this, but you can grab the book anywhere books are sold.
Awesome. Rebecca, thanks so much for being on the show today.
I'm so grateful for you.
And thank you for watching or listening today. I hope something today has helped you stop comparing and start living. Bye bye.